Hi, I'm Brian Lyman and I am co-founder of Cauldron Fermented Foods, and today I'm going to bring you on a little tour of my home fermenting operation. So I have this nice, really nice shelf here that is covered in various kinds of fermenting vessels. This is the biggest one. This is the one I call my cauldron. It's a German style. It has an airlock on top that allows the carbonation to bubble out and no air to get in. These ones here with the tab and the cover that pulls down, they have a gasket, are perfect little fermenting vessels. They come in a variety of sizes, and the gasket keeps air from getting in but allows the pressure of the carbonation to get out. So these little ones I like to do experiments in, or if I just have some leftover something. This is fiddleheads. They are from Vermont, I think. They're actually little baby ferns that you harvest from the wild. I thought I'd experiment with them. They were in Whole Foods. This is a little bit of jalapeno peppers that I had left over from something. I mixed them with some garlic, mustard seed, and thyme. I'm going to try doing a jalapeno pepper sauce. Back here we've got an experiment as well. It's a stout vinegar, which I've never even actually done a vinegar before. So this is an interesting experiment. I want to see where it goes. I've got two different kinds of curries going right now. Curried carrots, excuse me. I'm experimenting with different flavors. Curry and carrots in the sour fermented form are pretty delicious. Finally, I've got these crocks here that are made by Boston potter Jeremy Auguski of Auguski Ceramics. He also founded Boston Ferments. And this is the first time I've done miso, and it's about 5 weeks now, and because it's spring and the temperature's gone up, I'm starting to be able to really smell it very well. Aside from that, I have my books down here, my reference books, my fermentation books. I have a signed copy of The Art of Fermentation. I keep a pH meter and empty jars and extra ingredients. Today, I'm actually going to be putting together a mead. As you can see here, I've got like 15 pounds of honey, and I've even got this new gadget here that's an air bubbler. See that? It's for a fish tank, but you really want to have your mead oxygenated before you start it. So I read that on a blog, and I really like gadgets, so I went and got it. Finally, here's our window where we grow things. We've got some starts going. But I wanted to show you my kombucha setup. As you can see, I usually do 4 gallons at a time. And I've positioned it right over the heater because it gets too cold in the wintertime in Boston to really ferment the kombucha very well. It just goes really slowly. So as you can see, I've got both my kombucha jars as well as the bottles of kombucha conditioning right above the heater. And then once it's summertime, the heat will be off anyway. I just wanted to show you what I look for in carbonation. That's the most important thing to me with kombucha, and that is the sound. That is the sound that I'm looking for. Yeah, that's what you want to see. I've spent most of my time with kombucha really trying to perfect the carbonation. So anyway, that's what I've got going on upstairs. I spill into the basement a little bit, so I'm going to bring you down there now. Alright, hello. Welcome to the second part of my video. I just wanted to show you what I have going on in my basement, because like any good fermenter, I spill over into the basement because I do a lot of fermenting. We'll start right here in front of us. I have here all of the backups. So when I jar things, I have generally a lot of them left over. Or I make a lot at a time, I guess I should say. And this is where I keep them, all labeled. I've got a variety of carrots, and a couple of hot sauces, some mint lime pickles, red sauerkraut, kimchi, preserved lemons, and these jars here are just a mix of leftover brine and garlic and jalapenos and various spices from big ferments, and I've actually been making that into a paste, and it is just amazing. Down below, you actually see Cauldron's sample inventory right now. It's all being stored here in the basement to stay nice and cool, although it is starting to warm up a bit. Here we have another piece of Cauldron's sample fermenting right now. I've got a bench that I can sit on, and this is a carboy, of course. Anybody who brews beer or mead will know that that is a carboy, and that's where I brew alcohols. Over here, I have a bunch of leftover brines that I keep on top of the refrigerator. They are useful for a variety of things. I add them to Bloody Mary mix, which is really fantastic. That's a really good idea. I've also used them to make pickled eggs or to add to a fermented mustard to kickstart it. So there's a lot of uses for brine. You don't always find a use for it, but there are uses, and if I can find one, I want to do it. This little fridge is a wine fridge. It keeps it a cool temperature, but not super cold. And I actually have 2 different kinds of miso brewing in there right now. They're the long, slow fermenting dark miso. It's an experiment. I haven't done it before, and we'll see how it goes. To the left of the fridge, I have my beer with the pink caps. Brewed a lager this winter, a black lager. Came out really well. And behind that, even though it says Sam Adams, it's a bunch of experimental types of kombucha. I'm always playing with kombucha recipes, and Cauldron hopes to be selling kombucha someday. And finally, against this wall is my storage of jars, mostly. It's mostly empty jars. I'm a hoarder of jars because I just use them incessantly for, obviously, all the fermenting I do. So yeah, I like to keep them organized. I like to keep everything as organized as I can. So that's that. Thanks for coming with me.